Good morning, you're still watching Good Morning Kenya. I'm Regina Manyara. Now we focus on women in business. Now gender and inequality still plagues us, but we must take the first step in this journey. Those are words of Jane Karuku, who is a group managing director at East African Breweries Limited. Now, introducing my guest is Mary Muthoni, who is the chairperson of the Women in Business, to just help us harness the potential of women in business. Good morning, madam, and thank you for your time. Now, we've already talked about, or rather seen the issues of gender equality in as far as women's representation in the economic value chain is concerned. From where you sit as the chair of Women in Business, what is our forum doing to ensure that we maximize the potential and leapfrog women's achievement in business? Well, this morning we're going to be talking to the chairperson of the Women in Business. This is none other than Madam Mary Muthoni there, just trying to understand what we can do to leapfrog women's achievements in the economic value chain. Just a few hours or the days after Kenya joined the rest of the world in marking the International Women's Day, women have come out strongly to say that it's the high time that we bridged the gender inequality, especially in the economic value chain. She will be helping us understand what the Women in Business organization is doing, or rather the role that it's playing to, enhance women's contribution in the economic value chain. I'd want to draw your attention as you try and get her radiant sound there to an article that has been written on page 15 of the Daily Nation on the opinion section. And I'd want to quote Michelle Kagiri, who says, women farmers are at the front line of learning and adopting to climate-smart farming techniques. However, outdated gender myths have ensured that women have less access to and control of land and fewer rights as well as opportunities as men. On the other hand, we have Elizabeth Ombati, who is a disability rights advocate and a member of the Kenya Network of Women with Disabilities, says there are women with disabilities who are top leaders, and her opinion is that women with disabilities should be given opportunities to take a lead. So do keep up with us as we talk about matters of economic empowerment, leadership and governance, and where women are. We're going to be focusing on women in business, lessons that we can learn from COVID-19 disruptions, where the investment opportunities are, and what the private sector is doing to harness women's maximum potential when it comes to women empowerment in the economic value chain. Also want to remind you some of the trending stories that we're going to be keenly focusing on is that what options are there for ODM leader there, Raila Odinga, in as far as, succession politics of 2022 are concerned. And now information that has reached the media is that Raila checked into Nairobi Hospital for a series of tests, and he had complained of fatigue after his grueling 5-day BBI Coast campaign trip. These are some of the stories that have been making headlines in the last 24 hours. You can get further details on our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke. Now, it's my understanding that our guest is ready, and this is none other than Mary Muthoni, who is the chair of the Women in Business. Good morning once again.
Good morning, and thank you very much.
Okay. Now we're talking about, what we can do to ensure that we optimize women's potential when it comes to, matters of economy, the role that they play in economic growth. From where you sit as the chair of the Women in Business, what are you doing about it?
Thank you. First and foremost, I want to mention that Women in Business organization has a network of about 1.2 million women across the country. And therefore, we have a duty to ensure that these women are able to reach to the highest of their potential. And to your question, sometimes we just look at the policy matters, and sometimes policy takes long, maybe formulation, implementation. So we've moved from that point of just standing at one position and thinking that things are going to change. We have gone to ensure that the small things that are around and the few opportunities that are there for the women, we take advantage of them to the maximum. And as Women in Business, we have taken the lead in very many areas. We have been able to encourage partnerships with bigger companies and connecting them to smaller companies to ensure that they push them up. And one of the partnerships that we have been able to make and which is still running right now is with Bidco Africa, whereby we have been able to negotiate for women across the country who can plant bamboo, soya, and sunflower, and ensuring that the market is already ready. And also the women who are in poultry, women who are in dairy, women who are in general farming, they can be able to get products at subsidized prices and also resell them to the market. And again, we are encouraging women, apart from market linkages and so on, we are also encouraging women out of the lessons that we have learned during COVID. It is very important to look into areas or how they can be able to save a little money. Sometimes you may find you have 100 shillings today and you go on a spending spree or 1,000 shillings. It is better that you save that little instead of thinking it is too small. So we have also partnered with companies like a County Pension Fund to train women and to ensure that they are able to save as little as they can for a longer period and for a rainy day. That is what can save most of our women. When we come back and when this a pandemic like COVID-19, we are not all taken down like what happened last year. We are still recovering from what really hit the world, and it is it's so sorry to say that most of us were not ready for this. Most of us were not prepared that our businesses could go down. I can give an example with myself who runs a school. I had to close for more than 10 months, you know, and that was really detrimental to whatever that I may have wanted to do, the expansion that I may have wanted to do. And that does not mean it is just at the higher level or the mid level, the SME level. It also happened to the micro and small enterprises. When we had to be closed up and hold up in our houses, we couldn't go to the markets to ensure that we are buying our cabbages. Then the mama mboga really suffered. The person who sells to us clothes really suffered because we did not even want to have contact with them. So it is very proper to say that saving is one of the areas that we have to teach ourselves as women to ensure we keep expanding. Again, capacity building programs, which we have rolled out across the country to ensure that women understand opportunities are right at their doorstep. And I keep saying that the government of Kenya today has opened up doors by ensuring that women, youth, and persons with disabilities have been supported in many ways using different fundings, UESO, Women Enterprise Fund, the Youth Fund, and many other funds that if people are organized, then they are able to access these opportunities. However, there has been a challenge when you realize that most of these groups do not have the collateral or they do not have the the prerequisite documentation to allow them to even access the simplest of the loans. And when you talk about women in business, when I ask you who you are, you're supposed to identify yourself with your business. If you ask me who I am in business, I'll tell you St. Petro Premier School. If I ask you, then give me the name of your company. Give me the name of your business name. And if you're not able to do that, then the first thing that you should do is to be compliant. That is the first step to becoming a great businesswoman. And
Indeed. Now, Madam Muthoni, let me cut you short on that.
Yes.
And thank you for giving us the overview of what WIB has been doing to ensure that we harness the women's full maximum potential that women have in the economic value chain. And I hear you're talking about challenges, the issue of lack of collateral,
yes,
issues of credit access and such. From where you sit with your the Women in Business organization, are you in a position to give us the true picture in as far as the status report on women in business in the year between, since Kenya confirmed its first case of COVID amid the COVID-19 disruptions, now that we are almost marking a year? Tell us, how have the businesses run by women performed, the ones that have closed? Give us the statistics.
We may not have the statistics per se as of now, but I can tell you for a fact over 70% of female businesses went down in the year 2019. We may not have the exact figures. Maybe if you invite me next, I could take you down the road on what are the figures, and how it has been, it has affected the many women, and what are the levels of what has been affected. But across the board, from the micro and small enterprises to the top corporate, every other business has been affected.
Now, borrowing from that, with what we've seen with COVID-19 disruptions therein, what are your expectations ahead of, the president's address to the nation that is scheduled towards the end of this week, from a business point of view?
I think we are very expectant that the president will give a favorable view on what is happening on the ground, and of course see more openings from the government where people can have tappings, especially on access to finance, access to markets, and of course access to the correct network that is required for every woman to thrive. And of course opening up the counties, because again, for those who have gone down and they were doing import and exports, it would be important to venture into other markets that are within the country, and that will encourage the inter and intra-county trading activities that would enhance even devolution.
Now, talking about market access, you've said you're very expectant over, that particular presidential address. Now, let's focus on market access. The AFTA came into effect in January as women entrepreneurs under the Women in Business umbrella. What other markets are you looking to expand into in this regard?
Of course, we have seen the African market opening up. So we would be looking up into expanding the businesses into the EAC and the Africa in general. Internationally, Kenya still has a very great and open market out there. If you look at the market of the UK, and I know there's a discussion in Parliament around this, you will find that sectors like tea, flowers, coffee is so much, and that is where probably we can also plug in in terms of ensuring that we are in other sectors, expanding our businesses from the small cocoons that we are in. And I will always say that you do not have to own a tea farm for you to become to join the value chain. You could join into the packaging, the marketing of the tea, and of course the finding of the market across the world and across the globe. So there are very many other opportunities that we can venture into in the year 2021 to simply ensure that we are not locked into small ideas, and we can figure out in other sectors that are really working out there.
Now, Madam Mary, there is one of our viewers who seems to have taken a liking to a comment that you made, that women need to normalize introducing themselves with what they do. If you own a business, say, I'm Regina Manyara, a media practitioner, such and such. So they say, as women, we need to normalize business showers like we have baby showers, and support other women starting businesses. What's your take in regard to this feedback that we've gotten this morning?
Absolutely, that's a very credible opportunity for you to market yourself, just like a baby shower. But as we normalize our businesses, we also need to ensure that we have formalized the businesses. Because for you to have a baby shower, the baby has a name. So can we also have a name to your business? Probably that would be a bigger baby shower and a better one. So formalization of businesses is very important at this juncture. And marketing and visibility of women businesses is very important at this juncture. We have very many women who are running small and medium enterprises from their houses, but at the end of the day, you don't find them, and they are doing incredible things. You know, small industries in their houses. So we need to really ensure that that is blossomed out and goes out there for them to even get probably tenders from the government through the 30% procurement rule, or even from corporate institutions that are out here.
Let's formalize our business. That's what Madam Mary Muthoni, who is the chair of the Women in Business, is saying to regard to that feedback that we've received here in studio. Remember, we are live and welcome your feedback. My Twitter handle is at our official one, that is at KBC Channel 1 News. Mine is at Ray Manyara. We have a Dorina Range and a Jane Wamboy. Now, Madam Mary Muthoni, tell us, is Women in Business open to any woman, or do you have specificities into one to join the Women in Business organization?
Women in Business is open mostly to those women who are already doing business. However, we have capacity building programs to help women who are in employment transition from formal employment to entrepreneurship. Because sometimes women just quit from their jobs because they are tired and they want to do something new. However, you can come out here, you have the money, you have the idea, but you're unable to implement that idea. So we help such kind of women, the startups, to ensure that the transition is really seamless and they are able to catch up with the rest of the women. And we also encourage the women from the MSME level to move to the SME level, and from SME level to the corporates, because what we want to see the women doing is growth. That every other year you have moved one step, you have moved at least a mile that you can count on. And for a woman to join Women in Business, you just need to simply send the word register to 23406.
23406 to register and Women in Business. Now, allow me, Madam, today we're talking about women at the forefront and looking at their achievements during their lifetime. You've said that other than just being, the chair of Women in Business, you also run your own school. Tell us, what was your inspiration?
Sorry?
Tell us your inspiration in starting your school. You know, where did your journey begin?
Wow. I think I am, first and foremost, I'm an educationist. So I had taught for 10 years. I taught Moi High School, Mirori, in Embu, and I taught Moi Girls School in Nairobi. And after my 10 years, I really felt that there is something that is really missing in the children that we admit in the Form 1 section. Because sometimes you find children who, girls and boys, who had passed their KCP really highly. And when they come to school, they are unable to transition. And they start getting lower grades and all that. And I realized character and attitude is one of the key things that is really affecting these children. I wanted to create a model school, which I have. I wanted to create a school that is going to be an example of a child that I would want to teach English, history in Form 1. And again, my inspiration came from knowing that a woman can do even better. If you want something done, tell a woman. So I really needed to show the young girls out there that you have an idea, please go for it. Please make sure it happens. Do not, and I can tell you for a fact, after I quit my job, it was not very easy to walk in these streets of Nairobi, and every other time you're waiting for a salary and it's not coming. You know, when you're a startup, sometimes you have to go through those challenges. At the end of the month, there are bills to pay, there are things that you need to do for yourself, and you're not able to do them because you don't have a salary and you've just started a business. So those challenges are there, and people will also mock you and tell you, why do you think you can do it? You can't do it without the support of so-and-so, without the support of another person. Get information where it is. You can find it. And that is why I also joined the Women in Business organization, founded the Women in Business organization. We work closely with other organizations like the Kenya Private Sector Alliance, and you can see some of the things that are happening at the Kenya Private Sector Alliance with the MasterCard Foundation, COVID recovery for the women, and financing them as low as 30,000 shillings, you see. So where you cannot reach, you go to other people and you can be able to pull strings together for the better of the woman of this country.
Indeed, very well said. When you want something done, ask a woman to do it. So what should we expect from Mary Muthoni in as far as, you know, your vision for where you want to be as an entrepreneur in the next 10 years?
On a personal level, I want to ensure that I have expanded globally. Already in my business, I am in the ESC because we tap into our students from Tanzania, from Uganda, a few of them who their parents are abroad. But we would want to physically be there and be the very, give the best education and the best model school in the ESC and globally. And of course, for the women in business, we want to ensure by the end of the 5 years that we have 10 million women who are formally registered, who have formally registered their businesses and are running businesses correctly in Kenya. Right now, we are just starting. We just have 1.2 million members, but in 5 in Kenya.
We are speaking to the chairperson of Women in Business and founder there, Madam Mary Muthoni, who's also an entrepreneur within the education value chain there, saying that Despite the challenges, lack of collateral, access to credit and such, women have remained resilient in the past year amid the COVID-19 disruptions. She has also further gone on to share how you, if you're watching and you're interested to join the organization, how you can get information. And what you're talking about is a women in business organization. You can get their website there. Then also advice to those entrepreneurs who are seeking, collateral and credit. The advice or the take home from our guest, Mary Muthoni, is first formalize the business and normalize talking about it so that you can grow your network. We have you back online, Madam, you were saying?
Yes, and I was also saying some of the areas that we have been able to expand for the women. It's creating online marketplaces where they can sell their wares, and if they are able to Google www.wibkenya.com, they would be able to see the marketplace that is coming up to ensure that they are able to expand on their network. If you're in Kakamega, you can be able to sell your clothes in Nairobi, to somebody in Nairobi, someone in Meru, and anywhere in the country and in the world. And of course, we are also encouraging payment integration with companies like iPay to ensure that you have a one-stop shop for integrated payments. If you're a person who does not carry cash, then you can be able to use your credit card, your debit card. You can be able to also use M-Pesa, money transfer, or even wallets that are able to buy you product online and anywhere in the world.
Now, during the celebrations to mark the International Women's Day, what came out is that issues of gender inequality are still very rife in as far as women are concerned. And now looking at the economy, from where you see private sector and women in business, how then do you think, what recommendations would you give to tackle this issue?
I've lost you.
Talking about gender inequality within the value chain in as far as women are concerned, how would we best address this issue? We're in the 21st century, so gender shouldn't be an issue, but situation on ground shows that, women are falling short because of this gender inequality.
To say the least, one of the key things that must be done is implementation of policies, because we do have almost enough policies that are able to propel us to greater heights. But as I usually say, our current constitution right now is entrenched in our culture, or our culture is actually entrenched in the current constitution. And why do I say this? Because one of your most powerful leader today is called the MCA, the Member of County Assembly. And if you go to communities whereby they do not value women, and you find they are only men who have been elected, do you expect them to propel women and gender equality issues? Of course not. So we would also encourage women to come out in large numbers, vie for positions of legislation to ensure that they are able to fight for their space on the table, other than just making noise out here. It would be very important that we have more female MCAs, we have more female women leaders, and of course in corporates that we are observing the 2/3 gender rule to ensure that there is that femininity. And when we talk gender, I am not propelling for the women because it's a woman thing. I'm speaking like that because in Kenya today, the woman is the one who is still lagging behind in very many things. And if you look at gender issues, really, a woman suffers more. It is a woman every month who will need a pad. So she is disrupted from school. And if you look at statistics of how school-going children, we start almost at the same level at the nursery school. But as we move up to the university, to the high school, you'll find that the figures keep dwindling here and there. And even at the university level, the majority of the dropouts would be girls because of pregnancy issues, which men don't go through. And you know, that is a natural thing which we may not prevent. If we may compare maybe a young man taking drugs in the university, that's an issue of capacity. It's an issue of counseling. It's an issue of, it's not natural. It's something that you can avoid. But giving birth, it's so natural. So the issues that affect young girls, affect women, are quite heavy.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. We've been talking to the chairperson of the Women in Business, that is Mary Muthoni there. Let's make those policies actual. Let's actualize those policies that are very good on paper. I'm Regina Manyara. You've been watching Good Morning Kenya.